Welcome to Coachify Live, dear students. I am Dr. Soumitra Azad, your BARC mentor, here with you with good reads for a great career. It is the second part of our previous video. Before I proceed, I'd like to thank you all for your great encouragement and viewership. I'm overwhelmed with joy seeing the kind of response that I have received, we at Coachify have received. We are here at your service dedicatedly so that you can build a great career. Along with this, I'd like to make one thing very clear. We are here for you. In case you need any kind of guidance, any kind of help, anything that you feel the need of, please feel free to contact us. Just write it on the comment box, subscribe to our channel, contact us through emails. We are there on the World Wide Web. You could call us, you could get in touch through the mails. If not, you could write just in the comment box. And we ensure that we'll be there to help you out. So that's for the day. Now to proceed, good reads for a great career. I'd like to sum up, I'd like to begin with summing up what I had spoken in the first video. I had discussed the importance of newspaper reading and the number of reasons that you were supposed to read the newspaper for. Command of language, speed building, general knowledge, current affairs, your grammar in place, your vocabulary in usage, and several such other important points. In case you want the detailed analysis, you have to go back and watch the video. Now here I am with the second part of the same series, Good Reads for a Great Career. Students, I told you in detail as to how important newspapers are and why are they important. But is that enough? Is reading the entire newspaper enough in itself? The answer is no, it is not. Now what more to do? देखिए सामान्य तौर पर क्या होता है कि जैसे ही कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स के लिए एक्स्ट्रा रीडिंग की बात आती है, न्यूज़पेपर के अलावा जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज़ आप लोगों को सबको बताई जाती है बाय वन एंड ऑल इज नॉवेल्स. ऑल राइट, I also advocate novels, but the major and the most important question is it possible for everybody to read novels? Or let me rephrase the question. Is it possible for everybody, for every single candidate participating or preparing for these exams, to start reading with thick novels? Unfortunately, it is not. Most of us find it very difficult for the simple reason, and let's be very candid in accepting it, that English is not our first language. अंग्रेजी जो है वो हमारी मूल भाषा नहीं है, मातृभाषा नहीं है. अंग्रेजी हमारी एक दूसरी भाषा है, सीखने वाली, सीखी हुई भाषा है. So English is a language comes naturally to a handful, even in our own country, very few. Probably belonging to metropolitan cities or such areas where English is their first language. So now what? The $1,000,000 question is, if not novels, then what? So let me make my stand very clear. Novels are important, they are a wonderful read and they help, but how to graduate to reading novels? अंग्रेजी साहित्य की मोटी मोटी पुस्तकें पढ़ने की समझ किस प्रकार से आप अपने अंदर रोपित करें, किस प्रकार से उसको अपने अंदर बढ़ाएं, उसको बढ़ावा दें, ये एक मूल प्रश्न है. The very question as to how to graduate to reading thick novels or epics is what will be answered in this particular part. Students, first of all, it is very important for all of you to understand and remember that you are tested for British English. So classics become of utmost importance. All right, ये अपने जहन में बिठा के रख लीजिए कि colloquial or popular, colloquial, popular and correct, there is a vast difference between English that is popular and English that is correct. Correct usages, correct form, popular हो ज़रूरी नहीं और जो popular है वो correct हो ये ज़रूरी नहीं. I'm saying it because various other forms, various other types of English are popular, but we are tested in writing for the British English, जो हम लोग हिंदुस्तान में फॉलो करते हैं. तो सबसे पहली बात तो ये हो जाती है. अब सवाल ये आता है कि वो स्टूडेंट्स क्या करें जिनका अंग्रेजी, जो अंग्रेजी लिख सकते हैं, बोल सकते हैं, फ्लुएंट हैं, जिनका अंग्रेजी का बैकग्राउंड है, पर लिखने पढ़ने में, साहित्य में उनकी रुचि नहीं है. स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम टेक्निकल बैकग्राउंड, स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड, students from commercial arts, and students from various other backgrounds where reading is not a part, extensive part of the curriculum. So what do they do? Right? The answer is very simple. After reading newspapers regularly, what you can do is begin with essays. Yes, you heard it correctly. Essays. You're reading articles in the newspaper, you're reading various news items in the newspaper. Now you have to I would say, graduate to essays. The moment I use the word essay, the first thought that clicks your mind is a boring piece of writing which probably does not have a significance, which does not really serve your purpose. But here in this case, it is not so. Everything is going to be serving a purpose. Then you could start with short stories, all right. Third comes plays, well, short plays I would say. Then you could graduate to novels. Now in the same order, if you pursue this, it is the same challenge. For newspapers, I gave you a 100-day challenge. In this case, I give you a 150-day challenge. All right, 150 days. I know it's a long time, but like I said in my previous video, 100 days or 150 days, considering a period of 1 year preparing for your exam is a long period of time. But considering a career for a lifetime, it is nothing much. Now, so far as essays are concerned, where do you begin from? So to begin with, we talk about George Orwell, all right. George Orwell. I'm sure you've all heard of George Orwell. If you haven't, then you hear his name today. I'll give you a brief background of George Orwell. It's a pseudonym, it's his pen name. It's not his actual name, it is his writer's name. Pseudonym जैसे आप छद्म नाम भी कहते हैं, लेखकीय नाम भी कहते हैं, जॉर्ज ऑरवेल वो है. जॉर्ज ऑरवेल का जन्म शायद 1904 या 5 में हिंदुस्तान में हुआ था. He was originally a British, but his father was working for the then British East India Company, followed by the British rule. So his father was working in India. He was born in Motihari in Bihar. I think he stayed in India till he was about 4 or 5 years of age, went back to England, completed his education, and that then came to Burma, our neighboring country, Myanmar, to serve in the Royal British Police, Royal British Burmese Police. So the Royal British Police that was working in Burma. So he was a part of that. He was an officer there, and served there for a few years, and the experiences that he gained there changed his entire life and his perspective. He went on to write, he went on to become a full-time writer, was awarded the Nobel for Literature. I think, if I remember it correctly, the year was 1949, if I remember it correctly, but around that time, if I'm not 100% sure. So George Orwell is one of the finest and most popular writers, and you'll be surprised that he started by writing essays. He didn't start by writing a novel straight away, or he didn't start by writing stories or plays or something. George Orwell hasn't written plays. He's written stories, he's written novels, he's written a lot of essays. Now, which essays? Which essays? So, number one is an essay titled Shooting an Elephant. All right. This is the first essay that I would strongly recommend each one of you to start with. Why to start with? Because it will give you a fair idea about who Orwell was and why did he become what he became. All right. It's a beautiful read. It's a short essay, maybe about 4, 5, 6 pages. That's about all. More like a story, first-hand account of an incident that changed Orwell's life. In his own words, he says that it changed his life. So it's that account. Speaks volumes about the kind of world that people were living in back in those days. I think this is somewhere in the 1920s. I think it's late 20s. Maybe he was about 24, 25 years of age, something like that. So this is an account of a happening, and the name suggests shooting an elephant. It is about shooting an elephant, but under what kind of circumstances, why, what was the reason? Now we talk about George Orwell and why to begin with him. So what is the problem faced by most of the students? It is lack of understanding of language. So the most important thing is that Orwell's write-ups are very easy to follow, no jargons, बहुत ज़्यादा दुरूह भाषा का प्रयोग नहीं करते जॉर्ज ऑरवेल, कोई ऐसे मुश्किल शब्दों का प्रयोग नहीं है. Sentence construction is easy, easy to follow, easy to understand, and they are very emotional reads. आप भावनात्मक रूप से उससे जुड़ाव महसूस करेंगे. जॉर्ज ऑरवेल से आप लोग जुड़ाव महसूस करेंगे. ये मेरी परखी हुई बात है. जब मैंने पहली बार ऑरवेल को पढ़ा तो मैंने भी बड़ा जुड़ाव महसूस किया. इट इज़ समथिंग लाइक अ हैपनिंग नेक्स्ट डोर. आपके आसपास के वातावरण में से कहीं कोई घटना है जिसको कोई आपको शायद आपका जानने वाला आंखों देखा हाल सुना रहा है. कुछ इस तरीके का सा माहौल ये बिल्ड करते हैं. देन कम्स अनदर ऐसे डाउन द माइंड. Then comes there are a few other titles. So आप लोगों के पास किताब इंटरनेट पे बहुत आसानी से आपको या बुक स्टोर्स में मिल जाएगी जो जॉर्ज ऑरवेल के एसेज की किताब आप लोगों को बहुत आसानी से अवेलेबल हो जाएगी. Why George Orwell's essays? These are some of the essays that I offhand remember the titles of. This is of course a beautiful read. The difference between an essay and story, fiction and non-fiction, characters and fictional characters and non-fictional characters. So इससे आपको एक बहुत अच्छा अंदाज हो जाएगा जॉर्ज ऑरवेल किस तरीके का लिखते हैं. Now other than this, what else? Few novels by George Orwell such as Animal Farm and a book titled 1984. Yes, the title of the book is 1984. You must read these two as well. These are novellas, not novels. These are short books. Okay, आप लोग पढ़ेंगे आपको बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद आएगी. 1984 is one book which was written maybe 70-80 years back and is still relevant. Politically, socially, जो दुनिया भर में समाज और राजनीति में जो परिवर्तन हो रहे हैं, जिस तरीके से समाजों का विघटन है लोगों में, there is a lot of unrest among nations and peoples. So you know you'll get a very interesting read. So okay, so this is to begin with about George Orwell. Now another essayist, and this is just to begin with. I'll keep coming to you, keep suggesting. I'll ensure that you graduate from this level to the highest. Another such essayist is Bertrand Russell. Another such essayist is Bertrand Russell. All right. Now Bertrand Russell is probably one of the greatest geniuses that the human race ever saw, though it is more of a personal opinion than, but indeed he was a great man. Now it is very interesting to learn about Russell also. I'll give you a small background of Bertrand Russell. He belonged to the aristocratic family of England. He was a politician, a full-timer. He represented his territory in the House of Commons. He was a scientist who worked on theories by Newton. He was a great philosopher, thinker, and an ace writer. And you will be surprised, students, a scientist who was awarded the Nobel for his writings in English literature. So that's the genius of Bertrand Russell. And there is a series, it's named as Unpopular Essays. Now he himself names his essays, he calls them Unpopular Essays by Bertrand Russell. And to begin with, Two of the most interesting and gripping essays by Russell are ideas that have helped mankind, ideas that have harmed mankind. These are two different essays. Ideas that have helped mankind and ideas that have harmed mankind. These are two beautifully written essays by Bertrand Russell. The difference between Russell and George Orwell is vast. Orwell is an emotional writer. He is simpleton. His writings are very easy to follow. Russell's writings are not all that easy to follow, however brilliant pieces. If you read them in eventuality, maybe you may not be able to understand them in the first read, and this I am talking about general crowd. I am not talking about each one of you. I understand that we have a mix of people. There are some who are already proficient in English language. There are some who are still trying. There are yet others who are just beginning. So my remarks are very generic. Don't take them personally. Now, ideas that have helped mankind and ideas that have harmed mankind. Each essay discusses ideas that have helped mankind are 9 ideas, and ideas that have harmed mankind are 8 different ideas. In the first one, ideas that have helped mankind, Russell makes you travel through the history from the primitive times to the year 1946 when this essay was written. And students, you won't believe, just about 5, 6, 7 pages, maybe around 3,000 to 4,000 words. And you travel through time with Russell. He holds you by your hand and makes you travel, and it is a beautiful journey. So far as language is concerned, slightly typical Aviv, not difficult. Typical, he has his own style of going up and down. कभी बहुत मुश्किल बना देते हैं, कभी बहुत आसान कर देते हैं. But then he has a classic quality. At the end of it, he sums it up all for you and makes it easier for even a lay person to understand. तो आप लोगों को इस चीज़ के बारे में निश्चिंत रहें. मैं सिर्फ students, how I put it is that this series is the beginning of the beginning. ये शुरुआत की भी शुरुआत है. जब आप preparation शुरू कर रहे हैं, उसकी शुरुआत की भी ये शुरुआत है. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप इन 2 essays के titles पे या बर्टन रसेल पे लिमिट होकर रह जाएं. No. You get books in the market by George Orwell, essays by Orwell, you get unpopular essays by Bertrand Russell, and make sure when you go on to buy these books, especially by Russell, there are a lot of commentaries available by various authors. Do not buy those commentaries. They are analysis of his essays by various authors, by various writers. Don't buy that. Buy the original unabridged unpopular essays by Bertrand Russell. Alright. So, ideas that have helped mankind and ideas that have harmed mankind, ये 2 आप पढ़ें. ये essays आप लोगों के बहुत ज़्यादा काम आएंगे. They'll open a whole new world. You get a lot of pieces on philosophy, hardcore philosophy and social issues. If you read these 2, and this is to begin with, these books are suggested, very strongly advised, all right, and you'll see a change, all right. So this is it in the second part. Very soon we are going to come up with the third one, and then we are going to start with short stories and plays, and followed by novels to read. I hope that this particular lecture is of use to you. I hope that you are able to improve and the purpose is served. So see you until I see you next time. Good luck.